Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today. Well, we already covered this, but YouTube TV and Disney have reached a deal to return YouTube TV's missing channels, all the ESPNs, local ABC, and more, but also add ESPN Unlimited for free to YouTube TV customers. I've been getting a lot of questions about when that's happening. I'm going to break it down and let you know what to expect from it and more. Also, a major internet provider is reportedly shutting down and sending their customers to Starlink. We'll tell you what's happening. This is the one that many of our rural users are probably very familiar with. And the end of PBS, well, at least in some areas, may become a reality. These stories and more coming up in a quick second. We got a lot to cover. It was a busy weekend in the world of cord cutting. First, hey, over the weekend, we hit 350,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Over 10,000 new subscribers in the last 30 days. Huge thank you to everybody for your support. I'm entirely grateful. That's about 50,000 new subscribers this year. That's on top of like the 50 we got last year. Very excited. Here's to hopefully 400,000 next year. Well, we're really thankful for your support. And since I bought back Cord Cutters News, we're up like 200 some thousand subscribers roughly, a little over that. I'm really thankful to everybody here for your support. Really do appreciate it. So here we go to another great end of 2025 and 2026 is I'm very excited to keep moving. All right, with that said, in the show notes and in the first pinned comment, you'll find a link to every story I'm about to talk about if you want to read them for yourself, because I'm going to give you my opinion. I want to hear your opinions. Leave me a comment. If you like what we do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. We really do appreciate it because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. We post videos like this every single day. All right, let's dive into it. All right, YouTube TV is adding ESPN Unlimited, but when? That was a big question I got over the weekend. A lot of people are like, hey, I try to use YouTube TV as a provider to log into ESPN Unlimited. Well, not so fast. ESPN Unlimited is ESPN's subscription streaming service for about $30 a month right now. You can get all the ESPN channels plus ESPN content that appears on ABC and some select original content included there, and soon exclusive content like WWE content exclusively on ESPN Unlimited. Now, ESPN and Disney have reached a deal to build ESPN Unlimited into YouTube TV. Now with this, you'll be able to access all that content inside YouTube TV, most of which you can already get. All the ESPN channels are already there now. And with this, you'll be able to on-demand access and get live streams of things like the WWE content. But not so fast. They have not said exactly when that will happen, but they did say by the end of 2026 it will happen. I suspect it'll be a lot sooner than the end of 2026. They're just giving themselves some grace room. They got to integrate all this, build a user interface, and I'll update the YouTube apps across multiple devices to add support. Probably not in 2025. I would not be surprised to see this start rolling out in early 2026. That's just a guess though. But not so fast, as Lee Corso used to say. The content is not there yet, but it is coming. So I got a lot of questions over that over the weekend. Wanted to answer it here. Let's keep moving along. A major internet provider is reportedly getting ready to shut down, HughesNet. Now, this is owned by Dish's parent company, EchoStar, who struck a big deal to sell most of its wireless spectrum to AT&T and SpaceX. Now, Space Intel website noticed something in the regulatory filing for this. And as part of this deal, they're going to encourage current and new subscribers not to subscribe or keep subscribed to its HughesNet home internet service from space, but to instead transfer over to SpaceX's Starlink home internet service and business internet service and use that, and they'll get a referral fee from SpaceX for every customer signed up. Now, with all this, no timeline when that will actually happen, but it does not surprise many people. HughesNet's internet speeds and pricing is not nearly as competitive with SpaceX. Already there's been reports of huge mass exodus already from the service, not just from people going to SpaceX, but from the fact that fiber, 5G, wireless internet, all those kind of things are rolling out to more rural areas. For a long time, if you lived in rural America, your options were very limited. Sometimes DSL, if you were lucky, dial-up probably, and then HughesNet home internet was an option. But with data cap issues, speed issues, and more, it's very antiquated technology compared to the newer low Earth orbit internet satellites that are far faster, far better internet without the data caps that you get, or at least the severe data caps you get from HugeNet. So look for a HugeNet to become a thing of the past. With this, I would be interested to see exactly how this timeline breaks out, but we still need some approval from the federal government for this transition of spectrum, something I don't see a lot of issues with, I'll be honest with you. I do expect this to actually become a reality and happen. So we'll keep an eye on it, but if you're still using HugeNet, you can continue for now, but they're going to start trying to push you, if this goes through, to subscribe and switch over to SpaceX's service. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2026 we see a hard deadline where service will end from this with it. All right, let's keep moving along. PBS becoming a thing of the past in the end. Alabama Public Television is reportedly considering, and they will be meeting again this week, I believe it is, on November 18th, yes, this week, to discuss abandoning their partnership with PBS and going completely independent. Now, federal funding for PBS has ended, so the money that would come down from the corporation to PBS to the local stations is drying up and going away. And these independent stations, all these little local PBSs, pay fees to PBS to get access to their content and more. It seems like Alabama, and I've heard others are considering this, they're wondering if it's still worth it, or if they should go completely independent and have their own content, strike separate deals, but abandon the PBS branding and have their own content. Seems like Alabama's public television would be the first to do this. Now, there's been PBS stations that go off the air. When I lived in Central Texas, our local one shut down and we lost our local PBS with it. And so not unusual there, but this is one of the biggest ones that just says we're not shutting down, but we're going independent away from PBS. I suspect we'll see others as money dries up. Financial pressures will probably make many reconsider their financial commitments to PBS to carry that branding. All right, later this week, we got a big deadline. November 20th, Warner Bros. Discovery has set a deadline for bids to buy the company. And reportedly, Paramount, Comcast, Netflix, and Amazon are all busy preparing potential bids to buy Warner Bros. Discovery in all or in part. Now with this. Now, there's been different reports out here. Paramount wants to buy the whole thing. Others have reportedly just been looking at maybe buying HBO and HBO Max, or just buying the studios, but not the cable networks, and different deals. Now, because there's a deadline to submit a deal, that doesn't mean the deal will be finalized on November 20th. Definitely won't be that. That's just when they will start the reviewing of the potential offers, maybe making counters or asking for alterations and different things. There's speculation that they want a deal done by the end of 2025, so they don't have a whole lot of time, but I don't know if that's a little ambitious. We'll wait and see. But Warner Bros. Discovery up for sale and being aggressive and trying to get it done fast. I think part of this has to do with the fact that they intend to split the company next year into its studios and streaming, and then its cable networks into two separate companies. And while these negotiations are happening, they may rethink that. So they kind of want to figure out what's happening before they move forward with that plan. We'll see how that plays out. But Warner Bros. Discovery setting a deadline, a lot of companies circling, and there's probably others we don't know about. There's been reports of maybe even international groups or investment firms buying it up. We'll wait and see. All right, we just got done talking about an internet service shutting down as SpaceX's home internet service from space is taking it over. Well, Amazon is launching their own home internet service, and they're getting closer to it being a reality soon. I suspect even maybe by the end of this year or early next year, they'll start in limited areas offering home internet from space. But with this, they've launched a new name. Now, it's been called Project Kuiper with this, which would offer high-speed internet from satellites up to a gig. They say more competitively priced has been the goal than SpaceX's Starlink. Well, as they get ready to launch the service, Amazon has announced that they're renaming it to Amazon Leo, rebranding the service to be sold under the Amazon Leo name for low Earth orbit satellites, which is kind of what it is. Now, we'll wait and watch this. I'll be definitely doing full reviews as it becomes closer to being reality. How does it compare to Starlink? What's the pricing? That's what a lot of people want to know. Don't know yet. They haven't announced, other than the fact that they're getting closer to launch. We'll watch it closely. All right, today in TV history. This one was hard to believe, but it's been 24 years since the first Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, first premiered in American theaters 24 years ago on in November this year. It's hard to believe in 2001 that came out. Part of me feels like that just came out. Part of it feels like it's been out way longer than that with it. Also, and today for a good deal, if you've been looking for a deal out there, if you have an older Roku with an older Roku remote, you've been thinking about upgrading it to the new Roku Pro remote with the rechargeable USB-C battery, programmable buttons, backlighting, and other features with this. The Roku Pro Remote 2 is now at its lowest price ever, just over $25 a month, $25.58. A great way to upgrade older Roku TVs, older Roku streaming players, and more with a new, more powerful remote with it. Check out link in the show notes if you want to check that out. Hey, you may notice over the weekend, MSNBC finally did its rebrand ahead of Comcast spinning it off as part of its effort to get rid of most of its cable networks into an independent company. It's now been rebranded to MS Now. And with this, the staff in charge of it talked a lot about how they want to make it a more modern news organization. Yeah, that sounds a lot like big talk without a little change. Now, a few things here. You will notice new studios as they had to move out of the Comcast-owned studios to a new one in New York. That seems to be temporary for now as they build other ones. We'll see if that ends up being a permanent move or not. We'll wait and see. But they want to really lean into being a more modern, more rapid response, more news-focused organization. We'll keep an eye on this. But MSNBC is increasingly struggling with ratings, as are all the news channels, as increasingly people move away from cable news to things like YouTube videos, social media, and other online sources. There's so many more ways to get news. And I've actually noticed a lot recently that, hey, you know, a big news alert on my phone, it's several minutes later when you get the first report on cable television. So not a big surprise there. And lastly, Roku is updating its Roku Remote app on Android and iOS. By the way, if you have a Roku TV, Roku player, the app on the phone is really useful. For one, if you can't find your remote, you can use your phone to make changes to your television, control it. But they redid the control part. Instead of having just buttons for up, down, left, right to move around on the screen and hit OK to select a thing, they now have swipe motions where you swipe to the right to move to the right, swipe to the left to move to the left. And I know a lot of people hate it. It's much like the old Apple TV remote with the touchpad that people hated, that they ditched eventually. Roku did, though. If you, in the top right corner of the app, there's a settings icon. You can switch back to the classic version with up, down, left, right buttons, just like you're used to in the Roku remote. Let's hope Roku doesn't try to get fancy like Apple did and release a remote with a touchpad on it to swipe. It was probably one of the worst remotes I've ever used with it. So, with that said, check it out. All right, that's it for today. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you're having a great Monday. I'll be back again tomorrow. Again, a huge thank you to everybody for 350,000 subscribers. A huge welcome to everybody who's new here. I've been covering the world of cord cutting for over 11 years now. Very excited about. We're very excited for the next future, next 11, next 20, next 30, next 40 years. Here's to a bunch of new subscribers. Welcome. Thank you for your support. We hope we're helping you save some money and still watch the shows you enjoy. Until next time, take care, be safe. I'll be back again real soon.